Welcome to DNVR Rams Live, presented by Natures of Colorado, the Northeastern Colorado dispensary providing top quality cannabis and a wide variety of products. Remember to use that code DNVR online or mention DNVR in store or drive through. Special guest with me, RG, the man, the myth, the legend. Pew, 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 pew.
Let's go.
RG, a fellow CSU alum. He is the slickest
Class
behind the camera in the Mile High City, in the whole state of Colorado. He'll be up there.
Damn right.
I like it, man. I like it. I like the confidence.
Happy I'm here.
We need the energy because let's face it, Tuesday night was rough. It was a tale of two halves. You play about as well as you could hope in the first half, establish a 14-point lead over San Diego State in Viejas, a tall task. Second half, get outscored 41-11, end up losing by double digits. We'll get into all of that. Later on, I'm gonna pick your brain a little bit on how the atmosphere at Moby compares to some of the other, top sporting events that you've been to.
Yes,
and then give my Mountain West power rankings very briefly, and then at the end, NCAA football is back, man. The first time in a decade.
Is it ever?
So we're gonna get into that.
Oh, we're getting into it. I got some things.
You got some things to say?
Got some things, man.
All right, we're gonna build the perfect school, like using mascots, uniforms.
That's gonna be fun.
All the stuff that really matters.
I'm excited to see your options.
We got a question here from Taylor in the comment section. Fellas, when's the new basketball shirt dropping? I don't know. I can confirm that it's happening. I've brought it up a couple times. We'll see. Sometime soon in the near future.
Quite busy.
I can promise you it won't go over well if I bring it up right now.
Yes. Eric's a CSU guy. It's coming, I promise.
It is coming, though, for sure. I promise. We had some logistical stuff that slowed us down early on.
As usual.
Let's get into it. CSU, they fall 71-55 at San Diego State Tuesday night. It's been a tough few days for me as a sports consumer. Every team that I've been rooting for over the last week.
Sports better?
No, actually, just a consumer. I made money on the Super Bowl despite having the outcome not be what I wanted in my heart, which is a kind of a weird position to be in, by the way. When
it means you're smart enough to know about Patrick Mahomes.
Well, in principle, if you can get Patrick Mahomes at plus money, you should just do that every single time it's available, and you're probably going to be significantly more ahead than you are behind. But that's followed up by a couple of Nuggets collapses where they're up double digits, and CSU with a chance to sweep San Diego State, to control their own destiny in the conference title race. I mean, sweeping a team that's coming off of a national championship appearance, that's a nice little feather in your cap. And man, I mean, I guess I'll give the Rams this. When things go wrong, they really go wrong. Just a train wreck in that second half. Like I said, 41-11, CSU got outscored 11 points. I saw online, and I don't have the account, so I can't cite it properly, but it's the least amount of points San Diego State has ever given up in a half of basketball at Viejas Arena. Yeah. The Rams already had a historic collapse in Wyoming, one of the worst. I don't know what to make from this.
I don't remember that Wyoming game.
But that's the thing. Yeah. Like, what do you even take away from a game like this where, the first half you play great. You dominated San Diego State in the first matchup. So really, 3 out of the 4 halves you've played this year, you were the superior team.
That would be my takeaway. Because honestly, it got comical at one point where I was like, oh, so they're just not going to score at all. Like, it wasn't just 11 points in the second half. It was like 6 points in 15 minutes. Like, it was just not happening. And what was weird about that game is just, it felt like there were not that many possessions for either team in the second half. And then all of a sudden, San Diego State was up 15. And so it was just like, I don't know. It's like it was almost softened by the hilarity of how little they scored, where I was like, that's not going to happen every single time. The Wyoming one was just a collapse, and it was like, dude.
Well, that's the thing is I want to mark both of those losses off as fluky, and I think the circumstances were to an extent. I mean, CSU, they were coming off of their best 4-game stretch of conference play. They had trailed for all of like 2.5 minutes over a 4-game stretch, hadn't gone down by more than 2. Then you come out, you start on fire, hit a bunch of threes. You're up 14. And the thing was, they closed the first half strong too. Like they come out, they hit the threes. But you could see a situation where a game plays out like this where all the offensive explosion was in the first 5 minutes, and then as the first half went on, you could like feel it starting to fizzle. That's not what happened. The Rams closed on a 7-0 run. They were the better team over the final 5 minutes of the first half. And then in the second half, man, and it really comes down to Jaedon LeDee. He was the difference in this game for them. He had to sit 13 minutes in that first half with foul trouble, but he had 27 points in 26 minutes, 10 of 14 from the floor, 7 of 11 from the free throw line. He had 6 boards as well, only 1 turnover. I mean, it was video game type production down the end there, especially as the Rams got into foul trouble.
No one could stop him. And the funny thing is that San Diego State was like, okay, back to you. Like, we are daring you to. That was the one thing that CSU didn't have. They didn't have any, like, no one.
Nobody was stepped up.
No, and it was like, I mean, Isaiah Stevens would try, and it would usually end up in a layup that was blocked, or just, it was like somehow off, or a transition 3 that really should have, that was too early. Like, there was just a lot of fluky stuff, a lot of turnovers, but yeah, there was just, in a team that I feel has so much depth, there was just no one there to even just like stop the bleeding. It was just...
Closing games is a skill, which we have here in the comment section. AO, I can't pronounce, Derbyshire, I think, says, how fluky when it's now happened twice in a short amount of time? You can't have 2 flukes in a 30-plus game season. I mean, it wasn't back-to-back. There's 4 wins in between those in which you trailed for all of 2 points. You beat 2 of the top teams in your league comfortably. I'm not trying to push back. Like, it was a horrible loss. It can't happen. If you're going to come on here and you want me to be like, the sky is falling, throw it all out the picture, this is who this team is, I just don't believe that. I think there have been some weird results for sure, and it's worrisome going, forward. I think this loss very likely realistically takes them out of the regular season title picture, and we'll get into all that, whether it really matters that much or not. It's more of a vanity achievement than anything, but it feels like a big missed opportunity. It's tough to be up double digits in Viejas. Yes, I feel like CSU got kind of a tough whistle in that second half. I just thought it was inconsistent, but I mean, you can't use that as an excuse when you play this poorly. Like, wins over San Diego State are just so tough to come by. A couple weeks back, I went through like my favorite CSU hoops victories over the year, and I think 4 out of the top 10 were over the Aztecs because those wins, they mean a lot. The league still runs through San Diego State until proven otherwise, and I think that was just a big disappointment for me, was that on a night where you had a chance to kind of put your stamp on the Mountain West Conference as, one of the premier teams, as one of the brands along with the Aztecs, you kind of let them come right back. I don't know. It felt very CSU football versus Boise State-esque, where, exactly, there were so many instances where it was like, you were competitive there for like 3 seconds. And then at the end, like the real premier team of the league showed who they are.
I think this is more of a useful game than the Wyoming game for CSU down the stretch. I think that this is San Diego State showed a glaring weakness for the Rams. Now, again, like a 41-21 half in San Diego State, like after you were hot in the first half, I'm one to think if you're hot in one half, you probably might not be the second half, or the
numbers, they tend to regress to the mean.
So like that would be something I would understand, but like 41-11, that's where I was like, there's something went wild there. But again, it was just, I think that's more helpful than like what Wyoming was, which was just a shocking collapse that like had a lot more actual fluky stuff, a lot worse calls and all that. But again, like if you have to look at it, man, you played the runner-up in last year's championship game. You won 3 out of the 4 halves, and that's not a way you want to look at it right now. But it is still a fact. You won them decisively by double digits. So I mean,
again, that 20 minutes was absolutely terrible. It's as bad as it gets. But does that mean that the first 75% of the matchup this season does not count? I don't think that's fair either. So, exactly. You kind of have to look at it with a grain of salt. The reality is CSU, I don't think they're a double-digit point team better than San Diego State. I don't think San Diego State is 16 points better than CSU.
Yeah.
But they closed really strong. I mean, 18-1 run over the last 903. Like you said, it wasn't that they just scored 11 points. It's like they scored a couple early, and then there was like a 15-minute stretch there of gameplay where I think they had 2 total made field goals. Yeah. You're not going to win when your star players are going 1 of 6 from the floor, 1 of 8 from the floor, 1 of 5 from the floor, combined for 7 points in the second half.
The one, I think they were down 10, and it was a semi breakaway, and they threw it to Josiah Strong up ahead. And then he kicked it back out, and I was like, no.
You could sense the hesitation start to come as it went on.
There was another position where Neek and Isaiah Stevens kept
They
going
both
back
passed
up.
up. Just somebody's got to let it fly.
And
credit the Aztecs. I mean, they're very physical.
Oh, yeah.
I do think the whistle does benefit them at home, but I said that on the preview going into it. Like, that shouldn't have been shocking to you. You're going to get the benefit of the doubt at home, basically in every venue in this league, especially when you dictate the tone. And you know, as we have here in the comment section from Casey, shout out to everybody commenting. Really appreciate you guys. You know, his main concern from the game wasn't the loss or the margin of victory. It was just the way that San Diego State imposed their will on CSU, completely bullied the Rams down the stretch. They were never able to adjust. That's completely fair. I mean, Ryan and I were there in person for the NCAA tournament 2 years ago in Michigan, and that game, as I wrote in my column, it felt kind of like deja vu. You have the hot start shooting. It's great, but also sometimes that can be almost like detrimental to the offense when you hit like 4 threes in the first 2 minutes and then you start getting a little bit 3 happy and then you never really get in a sustainable rhythm offensively. You don't, start playing inside out. The ball just, everything isn't flowing as well. I don't know. Maybe that's me making an excuse at the end of the day. You'd rather make jump shots than miss them. But I have seen that multiple times now over the years where you start hot and then you lean on that.
Yeah. Look, man, I coming into the season, I thought this was a really deep team that had a lot of shooting, but I was worried about playing bigger teams. And because I think, like, I still have nightmares from that Michigan game. I just remember the second half, they got bullied. And, like, that's exactly what happened in the San Diego State. And, again, I still think it was weird, like, kind of fluky on how it happened. But San Diego State had a strategy, and they said, we're going to beat you up inside, and we bet you can't stop us. And
we couldn't. They took our lunch money for 20 straight minutes. And
so,
took us to the deep end of the pool, however you want to phrase it.
Right, exactly. So, like, if you're looking at a tournament, and now you're probably looking at a lower seed, right, you're looking at probably a big team coming your way. So, I don't know. I still think that if they just play, and this is going to sound like me, like them critiquing them like they're the Nuggets, but if they just play the right way, their offense is built to, like, distribute the scoring. Like, Isaiah Stevens is there. He's leading in assists for a reason of the country. Or like,
I don't think there's going to be a lot of games where every single one of your top guys go that cold. I mean, it really was an instance where everything that could have gone wrong gone wrong. Now, that's now happened to you twice down the stretch, and if you want to be cynical and say this team needs to be more consistent, they've got to, I don't think it's fair to say they're like letting their foot off the gas. I don't think it's a focus thing. I don't think they're so veteran. I mean, the youngest player in the starting lineup is a 4th-year traditional senior. Other than that, you've got 5th and 6th-year players. Really disappointing, a missed opportunity. But
would you have been as disappointed if it wasn't such a dominant first half?
Yeah, I think it makes it sting more.
Because like going in, this was, I thought, a scheduled loss for the Rams. And so it was like, I didn't really have any hope until they were up 14. And I was like, oh, they have a chance. And then it was just like, oh, yeah, that's right. It's a lot like Boise State where you're just like, oh.
I texted Kevin Lytle before the game, and we always kind of have pregame conversations. What's your gut say on this one? And he did not feel good. He thought it was going to be a double-digit loss. He nailed it. I said, I think they either win convincingly or lose convincingly. I don't think it's like a back and forth type game. And somehow I was basically right on both accounts. But, this stinks because you had an opportunity to put yourself in the driver's seat to control your own destiny in a league that is really tough. I mean, especially if you could have pulled that one out and then followed it up with a home win. You get that road win. Now you absolutely have to steal one of these next two, and it's going to be hard. I mean, New Mexico and Utah State, those are not easy draws. The last thing, though, that I wanted to hit on just in this really my instant reaction, my main takeaways from this, though, is that while I did want to see the team win the Mountain West, and I still do, I mean, it's not impossible, at the end of the day, it is more of a point of pride than something that is actually tangible. I mean,
that's fair.
2 years ago, Boise State, they won the league. CSU didn't. CSU was a higher seed in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
You don't get an auto bid for winning the regular season title. You can win the title, and guess what? Somebody goes on and wins the Mountain West tournament. That's who gets the auto bid. Again, they're not going to leave the regular season champion out of a league like this that is this consistently competitive. But at the end of the day, and I've been consistent with this take, What matters to me more than anything is a postseason run.
Yes.
I want to see this team have success in Vegas and beyond, obviously the NCAA tournament, even more so than the Mountain West tournament.
Mm-hmm.
All of that is still on the table right now. As of this morning, you're still consistently being projected as a 5 and 6 seed. Mm-hmm. These losses have not killed your metrics. You have one bad loss on your resume from a metric standpoint. Now, if you want to get into this is a game that should not have played out the way it did. That's fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically long-winded point. It's not the end of the world. It would be cool to see them win the Mountain West, but if you see them make a run to the Sweet 16, are we really going to be looking back and be like, damn, didn't get that regular season title? Like, yes, we're greedy. We want it all.
Right.
If I can have it my way, let's win the regular season title.
Yeah,
let's go to Vegas. Let's win that, and then let's go to the Elite Eight or beyond.
I'd win a championship if I could.
Why not?
Yeah.
Like,
in all the sports, really. Like,
and I promise I'm not trying to be a jerk right here, because I have the same hopes and expectations that everybody listening does. I want to see this team accomplish it. I also just recognize that this league is brutal, and it was definitely a missed opportunity to beat San Diego State. But at the end of the day, you tied the season series against them, which is really what you needed to do.
What a year to be really good, CSU. Thanks. You couldn't have an off year for the Mountain West. You had to have the one where it could be a.
I kind of like it though. Like
it's great, man. Like, again, it's like you think it's such a devastating loss, but they are not that far away from like the top of the conference. Like, it's like right there.
We're closer to a 7-bid Mountain West than a 4-bid Mountain West.
Yes, I can completely agree with that.
Which is just wild.
Like, it's so it's just like, yeah, I can't. Again, it's a scheduled loss. It was a disappointing loss the way it happened, but I can't say
that's what makes it tougher to sing, because you know that, especially because, and it wasn't just the first half, you significantly outplayed them in the 2 halves before that. You had a really large sample size of being able to match up with this team, and that's what made it a little confusing to me. The way that LeDee was really able to take this one over is I thought the Rams defended him really well in that first game. He did pick up the fouls in the first half. They chose to sit him with only 2 fouls for the rest of the way. Move that certainly worked out because he came out fresh and ready to go. But yeah, I mean, if you want to say like, what do we need to look at this matchup for? Because more than anything, I think you just kind of got to try and move on. You've got a big game at home. Yes, it sucks, but they've got to defend the post better. Obviously, Great Osabor is a monster. They struggled with Degenhart in the win over Boise State as well. So it's not like this is a 1-game sample size, but they've handled LeDee well in other instances. They handled Kalkbrenner well from Creighton, a true 7-footer. I think this team is capable of being much more effective, at least with like slowing these guys down. Now, if a guy like LeDee goes for 20, you can live with that so long as everybody else isn't killing you. But the Rams didn't have any response, and that's really what it comes down to. In the game against San Diego State at home, Nate Clifford, Isaiah Stevens, Joel Scott, all these guys, your stars, they stepped up. They carried you to victory. In the game in Viejas, their stars, they carried them to victory. Guess what? That's how college basketball works. Like, I don't know. I want to. This was such a frustrating outcome for me because the result was not surprising, but the way that it happens makes it tougher to stomach. I knew that the overreactions were going to come because the way that it played out. When we're winning, everything's great. When we lose, everything's the worst. I'd say it a million times. Don't be Humpty Dumpty. The sky isn't always falling, but at the same time, like, you have to respond. You have to win one of these next 2 games. Otherwise, it does start feeling a little bit more alarming.
You got to get some road wins.
Well, you've got a chance here. UNLV, it's going to be tough. They still got Air Force on the road, which is, I mean, those are the games like you absolutely have to win. You can't just go over down the stretch here. But I don't even want to say this, but like, I'll be honest with you. You could lose this game and the next one, and you're still comfortably in the NCAA tournament field.
You're sick. Why put that out there? But yes, you are. You're not.
Because I need people to understand where this team is actually at. You're comfortably being forecasted as a 5 or a 6 seed right now. Yes, we want to keep that because you don't want to end up in an instance where you get a brutal draw right off the bat, or, you get the 8-9 game and then it's congrats, you won. Now you get to go play, Kansas or Houston or something like that. But this team has a great resume. They're in a great spot. We have seen them play incredibly high-level basketball for long, sustained periods of time, much more so than we have seen them collapse Doesn't mean the collapses don't count, but you got to take everything, with a little bit of perspective. And the reality is this team probably isn't quite as good as the 13-1 start that they had. They're also probably not quite as bad as the 2-4 stretch they had in league play. Somewhere in between that is a really good basketball team. You had a veteran presence. I'm not throwing in the towel yet. If you watch this game and you decided, man, I'm just out, okay. But I think you're going to be severely disappointed because I do still think the most fun has yet to come. I could really use an ice cold polar pop right now. It's kind of hot in here. Our friends at Circle K, if I sign up with the app, the first 5 that I get are going to be free. On top of that, I can get 25 cents off a gallon for my first 5 fill-ups. You're losing money if you don't sign up for Inner Circle Rewards with Circle K.
25 cents?
25 cents off per gallon. Oh my. Not just 25 cents off, man. That adds up. You got a truck, dude.
I got a truck, yeah. And the travel months are coming, man.
Travel months are coming. We're gonna have to hit Circle K before we go to FOCO on Saturday. Scan that QR code. I'm telling you guys, if you're not going to Circle K, you are missing out. First 5 fill-ups of gas, 25 cents off a gallon. First 5 Polar Pops are free. After that, you can get rewards where every 6th item is free on all kinds of stuff. Dispensed beverages, donuts, pizza. Whatever your poison, get a free size Polar Pop from any Colorado Circle K right now. Just text DNVR to 31310. That's DNVR to 31310. Message and data rates apply. Periodic recurring messages per month. Terms and conditions can be viewed at circlek.com. Sign up with the QR code on screen or visit www.circlek.com/innercircle for more informations. Of course, I got to shout out the homies at Natures of Colorado. They are our presenting sponsor, and they are the premier dispensary in northeastern Colorado. RG, they've got a little bit of everything. You know what's really cool, though? You can pick up conveniently. Don't even have to get out of your car. All their locations have drive-thrus.
Oh, all right. I'm in on that one.
That's a game changer, man.
Yes, because there's nothing worse than running out and then, I have to, get boots on. And
especially on, a cold
jeans.
day.
That's what I'm saying, man. I want to get out. I didn't even want to get out of the house, but, drive-thrus are great.
Super clutch. Order online at naturescolorado.com. Some of their deals include a $99 ounce every day, but when you use our code DNVR, you can get any shelf ounce for $85. That's a hell of a deal, guys, especially these days. Exquisite extracts, 2-gram bucket for $15. Remember to use that code DNVR online or mention DNVR in store. All right. Got to respond. Just a couple of final thoughts here on San Diego State, because I don't think there's any point in sitting here for the next 15 minutes and being like, LeDee kicked their ass. Yep. We get it. You got to be tougher on the road. You got to be able to defend at a elite rate without getting into foul trouble. Again, was the whistle a little bit favorable for San Diego State? Yes, that's going to happen on the road. Hopefully you get, a little more 50-50 in the tournament. But the reality is champions don't make excuses. Yeah. Champions find a way to get it done. And I think that's what we're going to see from this team moving forward. The response to me matters so much more than this outcome, because it was disappointing, but we all kind of expected it coming in.
Mm-hmm. It's like you said, it's just, they got dominated. This is such a thing, like I was saying, you can learn from. This is a learning game. It's like, okay, if they go to LeDee again, if we get a big lead on him, if we do the things we were doing right, how do we respond this way? Maybe it isn't with just Isaiah Stevens running at the, hoop, or that type of stuff. Maybe we slow it down, right? Maybe we try. That's when you
want to get to the hoop, get a guy like Neek, right, in action. I mean, they've been able to get a lot of open shots for the wings. They haven't been very consistent with hitting those.
As weird as it sounds, I would have gone after LeDee. Okay, if they're going to use him so much on the offense, then I really want to wear him down on the defense and try and just get the energy out of him as soon as possible. But I don't know if they had that option.
Part of it, they got in foul trouble.
Yeah, that as
Joel
well.
Joel Scott fouls out in 17 minutes. Right. Bemba fouled out in 11.
Not great. And then but again, if you had told me, regardless of how either half went, that CSU went to San Diego State and lost 71-55, I've been like, okay, yeah, that's kind of what happens there. Yeah, so.
Disappointing. Be stronger on the glass, be tougher, defend better, get your stars going. That's pretty much the recipe, especially at home. You need your big time players to step up. this is a really tough game. Utah State just stole one on the road against Wyoming the other night. They've now escaped death on the road 2 or 3 times where they objectively should have lost and just found a way to get it done. That's what great teams do. That's been the difference between them and CSU in league play is, Utah State's been able to go into Laramie and find a way to win when they didn't have their best game. Objectively, they kind of stole one against UNLV when they got the 5-point play from the officials. Never seen a game end that way. Literally, never seen a game end that way. But no, I mean, you're not going to make excuses when you're winning. I think that's the thing about teams that are well coached, that execute, that stick to their principles. You also tend to be more lucky because you're not beating yourself, and all of a sudden that one little lucky break that goes your way, when you're doing everything else right on top of it, it feels like it's luck, but in reality, it's just they're doing the right things. Yeah, and then you do need a ball to bounce your way every now and then. We're going to get into our Mountain West Power Rankings here in just a second, or my Mountain West Power Rankings. I do them weekly. I wasn't going to do them because there's so many huge games this weekend that it almost feels like an obsolete discussion. These are going to be good for about 30 hours.
Kale, clip this, and I am going to hold Justin to it after this weekend.
Well, here's the thing. I did not want the haters to accuse me of ducking the Power Rankings because CSU lost by double digits. I'm a man of integrity. I'm here win, loss, or draw.
Bro, haters are going to get you either way.
I know they are. But before we get to those, I just kind of wanted to pick your brain a little bit. And at the end,
okay.
We're going to wrap up with just a fun little game. We're going to try and build the perfect school. NCAA football is back. The video game is back. It's probably going to be terrible, but it's been a decade and I don't care. I'm starving. I need a little bit of dynasty mode in my life.
Ooh.
If I had to ask you what has stood out the most to you about the Rams this season, what would you say?
As heartbreaking as the game of the losses have been, this is the most confident I've been in the Rams in a very long time. Like when I just see them play and when it's rolling, I go, okay, that I can see what works. And when they are doing it their way, that's a tough team to stop. And so, I think it's awesome how Isaiah Stevens is still here.
It's really fun. Glad. I mean, it's a rarity in college sports these days.
It's so fun. And again, it's like I did it earlier, but they sort of just remind me of the Nuggets in a minimalist way in terms of these guys, as long as you just do the right thing, play the system. Isaiah Stevens is the guy that will make the right read, find the right guy. And as long as you're open and if you hit the shot, it usually all works out. But
it's fun when your best player is inherently that unselfish and team driven too.
Right. But not last year, but it was the tournament year, it still felt like, okay, it's Roddy and Isaiah, and then if they get stopped, I don't know who.
That's a good point. I mean, they are certainly deeper top to bottom. And there have been a lot of folks that have come on the pod and confirmed that. I said it at the beginning of the season, and it felt like more of a hot take just because, Roddy's our guy. Everybody that watches the show.
Well, not anymore.
He's still my guy.
Not on the Suns.
I can't rock a Suns jersey.
I don't know, man. That might look pretty dope.
Oh, that's what I was going to... The aesthetic is sweet. They got great colors. It's unique.
They got a good... Which is weird because none of the PHNX people like it, but I really liked it this year. Anyways, continuing.
Maybe it's just too much purple for them. It's it's overblown. They get all the purple and turquoise and stuff.
The white basketball. That's what I've seen the biggest. They want it to be just orange. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Suns, but anyways.
Okay. How does Moby compare to some of the other great sporting atmospheres in Colorado?
Yo, Moby is the best place to watch basketball game. It's just so great. I've been to hundreds of Nuggets games, and really, look, when Ball Arena's rocking with 19,000, it gets really loud.
I was there for the NBA Finals. That was kind of a different level.
Right. But in the state, if you just want to watch a college basketball game, there's genuinely nowhere else to, watch it. Moby is just different. It's just a kind of special spot to watch it. I love how just both sides of the court just seem to go up forever. And I'm not even like trashing like CU basketball fans, but the Coors Event Center
it's a gorgeous facility, but there's no energy.
It's a terrible. I think it's awful. I think all the noise just escapes out the top. Like it's just not. There's no vibe in it, man. It just like is like, oh, it's kind of like a pit that they threw a basketball court on.
Well, I'll say it like this. To me, the premier, and I'm gonna take some flack from Ram fans from
Do
this.
it.
But like if we're talking just vibes and atmosphere, it's Moby and it's Folsom. Like Coors, it's a lot like Canvas in a sense where it's a gorgeous facility.
Right. Awesome place to watch, but
and it's not like a bad place to watch a game, but I've just never had that many experiences in there where it feels like there's all this raw energy. And a lot of that has to do with lack of team success. I get all that. You start winning, Canvas is going to feel a hell of a lot more
this year,
rocking.
there's one game Canvas will be absolutely nuts for.
Well, what's that?
I don't know. I heard some kind of coach Deion Sanders is coming.
You called him his name.
Oh, what? Am I allowed to call him Deion Sanders on here? I think I can call him Deion Sanders.
I'm hoping that we can keep doing this. Ryan might actually get fired before the end of this segment.
Oh man, what does he go by? What's his @ on Twitter? Oh, that's right. It's Deion Sanders. That's right. Sorry.
You were just out at the Super Bowl. I'm sure I'm going to get some fun ones on Twitter for that. Is it more fun to be in Vegas for a conference tournament or the Super Bowl? Now, obviously, the Super Bowl is such a once-in-a-lifetime type ordeal.
Yeah. If you want to be there for the coolest, like 5-hour stretch, Super Bowl. But most of the time, it's a nightmare.
4 to 5 day stretch,
though. It was a nightmare in Vegas, dude. The traffic was awful. It was a 30-minute drive everywhere. Again, it was cool on Radio Row going, oh, cool, that's Chuck Liddell. That's like all these celebrity, the Wayne Newton was there. Like that's cool. You see all the NFL guys, it's cool. But what I love about the tournament week is that you can just go back and forth between the stadiums. Like it's like, all right, I'll go to T-Mobile, I get the CU game. I'll go to Thomas and Mack, I'll get the CSU game. I don't think that there is. I think Thomas and Mack is an awesome place to watch. I think T-Mobile Arena is a cool spot to watch. So I have more fun during the tournament weeks. The Super Bowl was a lot.
I think that's fair. I think that's about what I expected.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to the Mountain West tournament. I'll be out there. We're staying at Circa, which is great. I'll get to them in a little bit. Also, shout out to CSU as a whole for being great to us. Like I said, they always give Ryan and I awesome access. We'll be up there Saturday.
I get a spot on the court to shoot. Do you know how awesome that is? Oh,
you deserve
CSU.
it, man. Get great content out of it.
You're killing it.
And Nico Medved, I think, is going to hop on the pod with me for a few minutes
tomorrow
afternoon. So more info on that. I'll tweet it out, X it out, whatever the hell you want to call it. Have we figured out what the Zeet power rankings? I'm going to fly through these because normally it's more of like a full-on segment, but Dre's not here, and I feel like he's going to feel left out.
Oh,
we're going to start at the bottom if we can. I can just go through them. Air Force at number 11.
Yeah.
I'm just going to keep talking while we work through this on the screen. We're going to have Air Force at number 11. They've lost 6 straight. They've got a couple of guys, Bo Becker, they can shoot the ball a little bit, but it's tough being the Falcons. Then we're going to go San Jose State and our good friend Tim Miles. He comes in just ahead of them.
Miles.
We miss you, buddy. Fresno State, they are going to be 9th. They are kind of the best of the bad teams. That's really how we have established it. So real quick, AO wants to say, ask Nico about Cartier's ankle. I absolutely will. They have practice this afternoon, so we might get an update from Kevin Lytle on
Didn't
that.
look good.
It did not. From what I've heard, sources tell me on the staff, that
who do you know?
Who do I know on the staff? Just a few guys. They sounded pretty optimistic last night that he was going to be okay.
Awesome.
Now I'm not reporting that. Like I'm not reporting he's going to be fine. That he's going to be there. We shall see. I want to be able to ask him on record. But that's the big hope is if he does miss time, it's only one game. They really need him in these next 2 matchups though against Great Osobor and Utah State. And then New Mexico, who's got some great size in the post with JT Toppin as well. Number 8, it's going to be Wyoming. They are a little bit up and down. This middle tier of the conference is frisky, as we have found out, unfortunately. But, Wyoming, they've had a couple opportunities to pull off big wins and just have come up short. 6, Boise State. They've lost 2 straight, haven't had a chance to play since. I think they are one of the top 4 teams in the league, if we're being honest. But power rankings, it's a lot about what have you done for me lately. Nevada jumps into the top 5 after falling down to 7 at one point. They've pulled off a couple of top 25 wins. Neither of the teams they won against are ranked anymore because of Nevada, so that's kind of a bummer. But Nevada...
Oh, wait, you missed UNLV. Sorry.
Oh, did I? You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Sorry, Kale.
They are 7.
Yeah, UNLV is 7.
That makes much more sense.
No, it's cool. I looked up at the screen and saw.
With the Boone brothers, they have the talent to compete with anybody. They're just too inconsistent. That's what it ultimately comes down to. Then 6 at Boise State. They've got a guy like Tyson Dagenhart. He's awesome. They've been a little bit up and down as well. Nevada, I think they're really dependent on their guard play. They need Blackshear and Lucas to really be great to honestly have a chance most nights. It feels like if those guys don't go prime Kobe with their shot making, it becomes very hard for them to sustain success. But, I mean, they pulled out a couple of wins on the road that were huge for them. Big home win as well. I put CSU at 4. I went back and forth on whether I should drop them to 5 after the second half. I'm going to give them credit for the 4-game win streak.
Homer. No.
Maybe so. I think that
I think you're right.
When you look at Isaiah and Neek, that's the best 1-2 punch in the league. I think you can make an argument that New Mexico 1-8 is maybe a little bit deeper. Mm-hmm. San Diego State's really great. Lucas and Blackshear is a great 1-2 punch as well. But I just think CSU's ceiling is on par with the top 4 in the league, especially with, a high-level point guard like Isaiah Stevens. That's the stuff that translates come postseason time, or at least it does with the mid-majors that make runs most years. We're going to give San Diego State the edge at 3. I think you can make an argument either way, but, with the way that LeDee took our lunch money, it's tough to argue. No, actually, the Rams are actually better, even though CSU was the better team in 3 of 4 halves, won convincingly. If I really wanted to...
These are weekly power rankings, dude.
If I really wanted to argue with people, I could get into it, but, I'm trying to be diplomatic here and fair. And number 2, we're going UNM. Really high ceiling. I just wonder if they can do it away from the pit enough to make an actual run. Mm-hmm. Number 1, jumping all the way back to the top, we've got Utah State. They had lost a couple of games. I dropped them down to like 4 or 5 last week just out of principle, but now they've come back. You love to see it. That is our Mountain West Power Rankings for this week. If you like them, tell me why I'm a genius. If you don't like them, keep it to yourself. I don't care. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead and comment on that as well. Shout out to the homies over at Breckenridge Brewery. Breck Brew has a beer for any occasion. They've been doing it for 33 years. It all comes down to their love and passion for making good beer. You have always repping here at DNVR. What's your favorite Breck beer?
Ooh, at the moment, winter months, it's Avalanche Amber.
Feels fitting. Got the Avs about to start here.
Oh, I will be having some.
Head on down to the DNVR bar if you want to hang, watch a little bit of hockey. I'm a big Mountain Beach Sour guy. Like that taste of summer and winter makes it feel a little bit less dreary, like the sun will come up tomorrow. Check the Breck Beer locator at breckbrew.com to find a brew near you. I almost did the jingle, but I was worried about getting sued.
It's okay. And it's going to suck when it snows tomorrow, too, and the sun won't come out.
That's a good point. Finally, shout out to the homies at Circa Sportsbook, or Circa Resort and Casino, the world's first ever adult-only casino resort and the world's largest sportsbook. It's 3-story stadium style. It is by far the nicest place I have ever stayed in Las Vegas. The rooms are awesome. They've got affordable eating, which is a huge win for me in Vegas. If I can get a decent burger and a Coke for like under $15, that's such a win, especially these days in Vegas. And I just love it there. Stadium Swim is obviously the highlight. It's open 365 days a year, 6 pools, 2 spas, 15,000 square feet of wet space. You can sit poolside, sipping drinks while you're watching all the action. Maybe not exactly the pool time of year, but were there still people out there?
Still people out there, and the top pools are heated.
Oh, yes. That's a game changer.
Yes. So it wasn't. It's not like you just have to go sit out in the cold. You can just hang out in the pool still, and so
that makes me much more excited to be out there.
Like my second home this year. So I've been out there so much, and I love it.
if you are heading out there for the Mountain West tournament, for an Avs game, just for, shits and giggles, make sure you book your stay with the code DNVR20. You can get 20% off, which again, that is huge. To stay at a spot that nice downtown is awesome. You can also download the app at circusports.com. Circa Sports Bets can be made only while physically located in the state of Colorado. Must be 21 or older. All rights reserved. Circa Sports Colorado encourages you to gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call or text 1-800-GAMBLER or visit problemgamblingcolorado.org. Said that one word for word. So
Yeah.
I think we're good on the disclaimers. NCAA football is back.
Woo!
Which I'm so excited. I know that it's going to suck. I do, guys. I know it's just going to be a Madden clone.
I know.
And I know that.
Stupid EA Sports.
But I'm desperate. And if you remember back during 2020, I basically spent that entire year playing a 7-year-old video game and posting about it, and everybody was eating it up. That's because we need this in our lives. We need Dynasty mode. I need to spend 3.5 hours on a Tuesday night trying to land this 5-star quarterback only to have him commit to my biggest rival and me question all of my life decisions. It's going to be so much fun. I figured just in the spirit of that, we are going to try and build our perfect schools.
I love this topic.
Using these categories: location, stadium, uniform, which includes jersey and helmet, coach, and mascot. This can be however you want to do it. This really isn't that serious. If you're in the comment section, you want to throw out some choices, I certainly am open to suggestions. Ryan, you are my guest. You get the first pick.
Oh,
we don't need to go top to bottom, but it's probably the simplest way to do it. Where would your ideal and this is really through the lens of a football program on the NCAA video game. Where would your school be located?
For me, it's pretty simple. If I'm going I want a passionate fan base. I want big games. So I'm probably somewhere in the Florida Panhandle. Put me somewhere in the SEC like that. I want a temperate climate. I don't really need cold weather. Give me somewhere. Yeah, just give me somewhere in that area, because I just feel like out here it's not like the football I really want in the college level as much as I love Colorado.
This is where I struggle. I went back and forth because I do think you have a couple of elite college towns in Fort Collins and Boulder, but that's not what I'm going for. It's not through the lens of do I want to live here, because yes, I would significantly rather live in Fort Collins than Athens, Georgia, or Tuscaloosa, Alabama. But if we're talking about like the support,
that's what I'm saying, man.
That's where it does get a little bit more tough. And that's why I am going with Texas. Specifically,
That's good,
I'm going with Austin.
Okay.
I just think, you get the vibes of a good town still, but you've still got the crazy football support.
100%.
I like that. So
you got people that care there.
That's what matters. We want the support. We got a comment here from my buddy Aaron Harris. Justin's girlfriend time goes up means NCAA football time goes down.
It's actually the inverse.
Well, in a couple of months, we're going to test it. We'll see if I still have a girlfriend, to be honest. This video game might directly impact the relationships in my life. I think it'd be good for content, probably bad for me as an individual, as a person who's trying to grow and all that. Where is your stadium? Or what is your stadium? I guess you're just taking a stadium.
So this one, I had to think a little bit, because the obvious ones are the big house, or Alabama or the Horseshoe or something like that. Sometimes I think stadiums get a little too big. Michigan's really cool, but it's a big ass bowl. It's you feel so far away. The one place the thing I love especially about football stadiums is having them feel intimidating. And Kyle Field for Texas A&M. That's probably, it seems so tall. They're famous for the 12th man. It's just that just seems like a spot where if I was walking in as an opponent, I go, oh shit, this is wild.
I think that's a good answer.
Okay.
Aaron with a comment, give him a school with low expectations, a ton of potential. And Iowa State, Mississippi State, UCLA,
Colorado
Indiana.
Buffaloes.
UCLA, I'll push back on. They don't have any money. You're in Los Angeles where they don't give a shit about college athletics. Coach would rather leave to be an OC at a school in your own conference than stay there. Iowa State, Kansas State, those type of schools would be interesting to me. Places where they do have the passion, but maybe not quite the same expectation. Aaron blew it for me.
Oh.
I'm going with the BYU stadium.
Okay.
I don't remember what it's called, but the atmosphere is awesome. It's right against the Lavelle Edwards Stadium is what that's called.
That's quite the scene. Yeah.
The scenery is awesome. So maybe I'm factoring that in a little bit too much, the backdrop, and not necessarily the stadium itself. Okay. I thought about going with Bryant Denny. Tuscaloosa is a lot of fun. It's hostile, but I also don't think it's quite as hostile as like a Death Valley in LSU or something like that.
Swamp too.
The swamp
was up there.
But BYU is about as hostile as it gets when you're west of the Mississippi.
Oh man, and they're all sober and they know what they're doing.
When you're all jacked up on Diet Coke and you're both intense, but you're still like sober enough to come up with insults, it's kind of a deadly combo. To be honest, Utah State fans at the Mountain West tournament, some of the more like intense. This isn't me crying. I love the passion. Kind of mean at times.
Oh, dude, because that like adrenaline is the number one drug they can have.
It's what I mean. That's really lean into it.
That's self-produced. So like they're buzzing. That's their sugar rush. So yeah, that you're definitely right. And they're always just like locked in.
Pick your unis,
bro. This was the hardest one because this one I assumed it was like you kind of have to go color scheme. And so I'm a purple guy. So like Washington and LSU were up there. But hang on, Kale. There is one aesthetic that I just have loved for my entire life, and I've thought they've gotten even better. And that is the Florida State Seminoles jerseys. I love the spear on the side of the helmet. Looks awesome. Maroon and gold, phenomenal color combination. They have some awesome. They have the black like alternate. I just think they have the coolest looking college football.
That's a good answer. Their helmets are awesome.
Yeah.
They have the cool trim, the print, like the native print on the jerseys. The gold and maroon balances really well. It's a good choice. I did not factor them in enough. I'm a less is more guy when it comes to uniforms. Okay. Some of my I love Bama's uniforms. I love Texas's uniforms.
As less as you can get.
I think CU's traditional uniforms, CSU's traditional uniforms are better than their alternate uniforms, even though like we see teams wear more alternate these days. The Oregon route that would not be me. I would be traditional. Maybe we have one alternate that we rock out, like Ag Day.
I know. I need Oregon to rock more of the school colors.
Well, see, in the comment section here, Aaron says Oregon gets the recruits, but they don't. They haven't won anything.
Yeah.
So, I mean, has it really? I mean, clearly Oregon football is more relevant in 2024 because of Nike than they would have been otherwise. That was obviously a huge selling point. I'm just a traditionalist. And I've been stalling because I can't make up my mind on which one that I want to do. But
it's Michigan, isn't it?
I do. Michigan's great. It's solid.
Legendary. Love the M.
I think I got to go just traditional Texas with the burnt orange and white is really crisp.
That was up there for me, yeah. That's a good looking uni.
The road looks good. The home looks good. I almost said CSU just to pander. And I do genuinely believe that the CSU traditional helmet is one of the cooler. It's the best version of the Rams helmet. The St. Louis Rams, whatever.
Bring back
Los Angeles Rams, whatever the hell are. They can kick rocks. We are the premier Ram brand in sports. That's why that helmet's not going anywhere, by the way. It's very much
I love it.
Important. And Nike's a huge factor for Oregon. I'm with you. I don't disagree with the comment section. It's just not what I would pick, and I'm designing my own team here. Who's your coach?
Oh man, I mean, like it's hard to like not go Nick Saban or something like that, but he's technically not important.
So that's what I wanted to ask you. Are we going of any coach ever?
I'm not gonna. So I did not go ever. I did not go like historic. I was gonna say at least current or available college coach.
Well, technically he's available.
So technically he's available, but Saban is like
he openly retired.
It's like who's your favorite Nugget? You know, it's like it's probably Jokic. It's like.
So by that argument, Jim Harbaugh would not be eligible for this because he's not available.
That's what I would say. That's what I would say because he's on the Chargers now. I would go, especially for how I think kids are nowadays. I'm going to go Dan Lanning, dude. He seems to go like, he just seems to get like I don't know. If I saw it, I would get fired up. I've seen how it works against. He's clearly a better recruiter. I don't know. I know he hasn't like done much and he hasn't gotten to any like playoff games. But in terms of like the up and coming coach, I bet he's in the conversation for a long time.
I really look forward to sharing.
May not
this
even
graphic.
be at Oregon. Oh, I know. I can't. Dude, we're gonna
the certain crowd sees Florida
Kirby
State. Dan
Smart
Lanning.
was right there, dude. Kirby Smart was right there.
Well,
but,
that's gonna be my coach.
Okay.
So.
Okay. All right.
I think he's without Saban. I think Kirby is the answer in terms of who's the best coach in college football. I think you could throw out a guy like Ryan Day of Ohio State, despite his recent shortcomings against Michigan. I do love Dan Lanning though, and as a Bama supporter, that's who I was hoping they would be able to steal away. I like the hire. I love DeBoer. I think he's a really great offensive mind. So he did at Fresno State, at Indiana. It's solid. I don't think he will have the same type of juice as a guy like Dan Lanning.
So yeah, no, that's where I'm at. I don't even know if Dan Lanning is going to make Oregon work, but I just see him as like the up and coming coach. What about Dabo? Did you think?
I'm not a Dabo guy. I don't think anybody that's still complaining about NIL in 2024 is just so the game's passed you by.
You're so right. Downhill.
Moment of truth. Who is your mascot?
Oh, this was so tough. So I have two for mascot and live mascot.
Well, that's where it's
Okay. I think you would probably agree with this because you said it earlier. I like the BYU Cougar. That dude seems like the Rocky of college football. He just seems to be doing just the gnarliest things. When it comes to live mascots, though, I mean, this one's so simple. You got to do the best one, and that is a live tiger. That is Mike the Tiger from LSU. That is insane. You have a tiger on the sidelines. Get the hell out of here. That's the wildest thing you could have. A tiger. A freaking tiger, dude.
It's a good one.
So, yeah, that's where I'm at.
Oh, man.
Oh, Stanford Cardinal. That's a good one. That's a good one, Aaron.
There's a lot of options you could go with this one. Again, I think Cosmo, the BYU Cougar, is the best. Like, if you want to go like Rocky, the super mascot, that guy.
Yeah.
I just went with. I guess I'll come up with one. We'll go Cam the Ram for the BYU Cougar, and then we will go. No, we're just going Cam the Ram. Cam the Ram's the best mascot. I don't care. Cam the Ram is our guy. Proud to be, baby, always.
Oh, dude, Cam's awesome.
I will say, though, the Air Force Falcon is pretty cool, too.
That's fair. That's fair.
And, I mean, obviously, Ralphie is very neat as well.
Who?
I gotta be honest.
Hey, dude, Ralphie, run past the 50-yard line this year, and maybe I'll put you back
That's
up
a good
here.
point. His power rankings probably at an all-time low.
And I would even think that's a strong
Ralphie
opinion.
on Fraud Watch?
This is what, and
she doesn't seem to be very interested in
a lot of CU
there.
fans will probably get upset that it's like, excuse me, Ralphie is the best live man. No one has complained about how the lack of running from this year's Ralphie more than CU fans. I've seen
it's true, because the thing is Cam like struts. It's obviously more physically intimidating when Ralphie
Cam
sprints.
Can't run.
But it's got something dragging him down. But when it comes to like strutting like Snoop Dogg pimp style, that's Cam the Ram.
Dude.
Now Ralphie, when Ralphie's coming out and sprints across the field all the way 100 yards, it's pretty dang intimidating.
Yes.
But what we saw this past year, got some room to grow.
Yeah.
Got some room to grow. That's all I'm saying. We took more jokes than I intended to on this one.
Shout out to Blaster the Burrow too at the Mines. That's dope. Get big Cam energy right there.
Mine's low key, kind of like a cool aesthetic. Their stadium,
love the colors.
Sweet location over there in Golden. Uniforms are solid for a D2 team. Like their logo is kind of unique.
And the starting salaries once you graduate. Woo!
That's for folks that were smarter than Rams or Buffs. So I think we can leave it at that. Shout out to Kale behind the sticks, making our dreams come true. Shout out to all you in the comment section. Thank you for rocking with us. Like I said, looking to get Nico Medved on the pod tomorrow, but I will post more info when I have that. Ryan and I will be in Foco Saturday for a huge game against Utah State. Fight like a Ram. Some things are bigger than sports, and this has really just become one of my favorite annual traditions. So I'm looking forward to being there. I'm glad RG can be there so we can get the video spotlight and really capture the moment.
Hell yeah.
Much love, y'all. Always proud to be. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.